Welcome, pro wrestling fans, to another exciting edition of AWMania recap show, review show. Today we're going to be discussing WWE Smackdown live on Fox from March 13th, 2020, that took place from the WWE Performance Center. For those of you who are aware, since the announcement of major cities and states shutting down all major events, and any events taking place with more than 250 people, or just in general, any event in general, all sports events and all concert events, movie events, and major conventions have officially been postponed or canceled for the remainder of the year until further notice. The only major sporting event taking place as of right now is the UFC and the WWE. UFC will be holding their events within their own performance center, the Apex Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. And on March 14, 2020, they will be holding UFC Brazil from an empty arena within Brazil. The WWE has also followed suit by holding their events within the WWE Performance Center with no fans whatsoever, just personnel. AEW will also be doing the same thing the following Wednesdays, where they will be holding all their AEW Dynamite events and tapings within the Jacksonville, we'll call it Performance Center, within the Jacksonville building that is owned and run by Tony Khan. So this weekend, this Friday on SmackDown, we held it for the first time within the Performance Center, which was a weird feeling to begin with. It's strange seeing a wrestling event without any fans whatsoever. I know we did it back many years ago in 1999 to early 2000s with the Halftime Heat featuring Mick Foley and The Rock in a Falls Count Anywhere match. But at that time it felt special. It felt unique in terms of the situation and the setting, and that this was a halftime show. This was a halftime. Instead of having a concert, you had a pro wrestling match that was ongoing during the halftime show. So it felt very unique to what was going on, and at the same time you had two of the major stars competing in a hardcore match. But to have an entire show with no audience and not within an arena and within your performance center, it adds a unique dynamic on television. And you know, in a way it worked, in a way it didn't work. I found like you're lacking the emotion, and you're lacking the crowd support, you're lacking the momentum that the crowd adds, you're lacking the cheers, the boos, the responses that are necessary, and what makes a match a classic match, and at the same time what makes a promo get over and what makes a promo not get over. But with all things considering, you got to consider that the wrestlers weren't going out there to put on classic matches tonight. They were just going out there, I don't want to say to do their job, but in reality to do their job, and at the same time to continue to further storylines heading towards WrestleMania, which right now the priority is getting to WrestleMania, regardless of whether the coronavirus it continues to spread, or what the necessary precautions and demands are from the Tampa Bay, Florida government. As of now, the Tampa Bay has not canceled WrestleMania, and it seems as though that Vince is not going to cancel WrestleMania either. He's going to just play a game of chicken with the Tampa Bay officials until they either force him to cancel and he's forced to relocate, or go with his contingency plan, or the show goes on. So we'll see what happens. It seems they're going to wait till about the last week before an official announcement is made, which I believe is kind of unfortunate to the fans who want to attend this event and who are forced to wait until the last week to find out whether or not they're going to be able to attend this event. But we'll see what happens. This is out of our control. I think an announcement should be made way before. But no, I'm not running the company, and I get what Vince's perspective is. The show must go on regardless of what the situation is, right? So there's an empty arena. Corey Graves is not there tonight on commentary. Never really addressed as to why he's not there tonight. Hope all is well. Hope he just had the night off and that's it. Triple H joins Michael Cole on commentary to kick off the show. Triple H actually kicks off the show by welcoming everyone to the Performance Center, and what was a beautiful opening package, a new beautiful opening segment. You wanted to kick off the show, and you wanted to address what was going on with the world with the coronavirus, and as to why they're in the Performance Center, and at the same time, what is the Performance Center. And he does all of that by putting the Performance Center over, explaining that this is where the superstars of tomorrow are made, where they're shaped, and where they are created. This is where the likes of Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, Alexa Bliss, and many others, and Bray Wyatt specifically, have come. They've all come through this Performance Center, and tonight, the superstars return home to continue to do what they love, and that is entertain the fans. That was beautiful. It had me excited, it had me pumped, and it had me, feeling a lot less against the idea that these guys should be forced to wrestle. But we must consider that they're not paid to stay home. They're paid almost on a pay per hour basis, but we could say pay per performance. If they're not performing, they're not making money. So it's important for them to continue to have a livelihood and to continue to make a living. So following that opening segment, we cut to the opening video, which then cuts to Michael Cole and Triple H at the commentary booth welcoming everyone, and they welcome us to SmackDown and how this is going to be a unique experience and a unique event, which then leads to our first match, which featured Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Bayley and Sasha Banks, they come out, they do their entrances, which I was curious if whether or not they were going to come out and do full-blown entrances with the music, with the lighting and everything, but they did. They treated it as though it was a live event in front of a live audience, which you have to. Look, we're watching from home. I guess you got to keep bringing that same magic and that same entertainment value, that same entrance and the same production value that we're used to seeing each and every single week. And they didn't miss a beat. Sasha and Bayley come out. They insult Triple H. They insult the entire women's roster. They address the fact that where is Paige? Why is Paige not in the arena? It seems as though Paige was supposed to be a part of this segment between Bayley and Alexa Bliss, between Bayley and Sasha Banks, but due to travel issues, Paige was not able to attend this week's SmackDown, which we've all been made well aware of. There are very strict travel restrictions to the US currently due to the coronavirus. So that answers that question as to where Paige was. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss come out. Alexa Bliss cuts a promo explaining how she called out Asuka and the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, last week on SmackDown, saying that they deserve a tag team title shot and to stop hiding on Raw. These titles should be defended everywhere. And since then, they've yet to hear a response besides a couple of weird tweets that they didn't understand. And we head straight into our tag team match. Look, one thing to get out of the way is these matches, like I said, you're not going to get 20, 30-minute matches. You're not even going to get 10-minute matches. They were quick. Under 6 minutes, you got a commercial break. They came back. Sasha and Bayley picked up the victory. It was just as fast as I just announced that they picked up the victory. It's just to continue storylines and to entertain the fans. The victory comes when Asuka runs through the limited audience to no audience, distracts Alexa Bliss, costs her the victory, and there's your feud. There's your storyline. The Kabuki Warriors versus Twisted Bliss. Asuka made the first move by distracting Twisted Bliss and costing them the match. So we're moving. We're moving at our towards WrestleMania, towards a matchup, and that was the right play. The Kabuki Warriors have to defend their tag team titles. The last time they defended the tag team titles was most likely the Royal Rumble. Not even the Royal Rumble. It was probably Survivor Series. If not the last pay-per-view of the year, which I'm trying to remember if it was TLC, but which I think it was. No, not even. I think it was Survivor Series. The last time that the Kabuki Warriors may have defended their titles on a pay-per-view was Survivor Series. So it's going to be nice to see these titles defended at WrestleMania if it should go on. Following the tag team match, we had Roman Reigns' interview where he sat down with Michael Cole in the middle of the ring, and Michael Cole asked him, how do you feel about challenging Goldberg for the title? And what are your thoughts on Goldberg? This was the first time that Roman cut an actual promo that resonated with the fans in the live audience. No, I'm kidding. We know there was nobody there. Yeah. But this was the first time, truthfully, that he cut a promo that mattered. We appreciated and we understood and we sided with him. He made it clear. He's like, listen, I'm not a part-timer. I hate when part-timers come and they just partake and they take up the time of the full-timers. And I'm here to get rid of Goldberg and to put an end to his once-in-a-while appearance. This show is not a part-timer show. This is a full-timer show. And I'm going to take back the WWE Universal title and I'm going to bring it to SmackDown where it deserves a full-time champion. Yes, I know we've heard this storyline before and it came out of the mouth of Seth Rollins. But to hear this come out of Roman Reigns and to hear it come out in a non-scripted way where you believed his intensity and you believed, like, look, he's fed up and he wants to give the fans good matches, good shows, and he wants to defend the title on a weekly basis. Props to him. That promo hit well. That promo was strong. That was the best Roman Reigns promo in quite some time. And it did a fantastic job at getting over their match with Goldberg. No one's saying this is going to be an instant classic in terms of wrestling match, but this did the necessary steps and what you have to do in promoting a match, old school style. We then cut to a match that we weren't expecting after a segment between Daniel Bryan and backstage with Cesaro, with Sami Zayn celebrating his victory. Daniel Bryan challenges Cesaro to a matchup, and Daniel Bryan is not going to be attended. It's going to be managed by Drew Gulak, who's going to be playing the role of the trainer for Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro compete. Cesaro obviously has got the rest of the crew with him. Sami Zayn, Intercontinental Champion, and Shinsuke Nakamura by his side. They wrestle a good match. This is the type of match you want to see more and more. They want to see him compete more over the next couple of years and hopefully have a longer period of time to compete, a longer time frame to compete than what they were given tonight. But due to the circumstances, this match was fun. It was quick. It was stiff. It was hard hitting. It left the audience with a lot to think about and a lot to imagine if they were given 20 minutes, right? Daniel Bryan picks up the victory over Cesaro with a beautiful pinfall, which he rolls him up when Cesaro was going for the crossface. He reversed it, gets the 1, 2, 3. Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn attack Daniel Bryan, beating him down. Drew Gulak comes to make the save for Daniel Bryan, attacking Shinsuke and Cesaro and Sami Zayn. But the odds once again are too much. They beat down Drew Gulak. Daniel Bryan makes the save by going for a suicide dive onto all three men. He fights them off, comes to the aid of Drew Gulak. He helps Drew Gulak up, and looks like we're going to be doing something with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. And at the same time, it looks like we're heading in the direction of Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title, which, if you were following over the last week's podcast, I made it clear that I believe that Daniel Bryan is going to be taking on Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the IC title. And as of now, that seems to be the direction that the WWE is heading. That may change, but that seems the direction to be heading, unless they decide to do a 3-on-2 tag team match, which no one really wants to see. Before that match, actually, we had a recap. We had a replay of the Elimination Chamber tag team match from the Elimination Chamber. As we all know, Miz and Morrison won, retained the tag team titles in that match. If you saw the Chamber, you saw the match. There's not more that needs to be said. It was a high spot match. It was fun. It was exciting. The live audience was into it, and it was a good match. Then we kicked things off with Jeff. We went straight into the returning Jeff Hardy, who cut a promo saying he was different. He was going to give the fans something they've never seen before, and he was a rejuvenated, rekindled, and refired up Jeff Hardy. He's interrupted by King Corbin, who says he's tired of seeing Jeff Hardy. He's the same old shtick, and he's going to put an end to this Jeff Hardy era. Jeff Hardy and King Corbin compete in a one-on-one matchup. Jeff Hardy comes out, same old entrance. Nothing's really changed about Jeff. His gimmick hasn't changed ever at all, besides the one time he was with Matt Hardy and became Broken Nero. So Jeff and King Corbin compete in a quick match. King Corbin gets the early advantage during Jeff's entrance, where he attacks him from behind, throws him outside of the ring, works on his ribs by throwing him into the apron, into the barricade. He rams him into the barricade several times before throwing him in the ring, and the match officially gets started. Baron Corbin continues to beat him down. He hits him with the deep six. Jeff Hardy kicks out, and as I forgot to address, joined on commentary was Elias, Triple H, and Michael Cole. Elias was on commentary he was pretty good on there. You know what? Elias on commentary was doing a great job. He was nailing what was going on in the ring, the in-ring action. He surprisingly did a much better job than Triple H in terms of calling the in-ring action. And that's not a knock at Triple H. Triple H is not a commentator. He's not an announcer. He's a wrestler. And he's a promo guy. He can cut great promos and he can give great wrestling matches. So Elias added a dynamic that was missing from this week's SmackDown, and I was calling what was going on in the ring. He also caused the interference as to why Baron Corbin lost this matchup. He stood up on the announce table when Baron Corbin was causing too much of a scene where he was calling out Elias, which was also interesting because now we got to hear what the wrestlers were saying in the ring with no live audience and with nothing blocking from in-ring action, in-ring noise, in-ring speaking, in-ring when the wrestlers are yelling at the other wrestlers. We got to hear it all because they were yelling and it was there for us to hear with like I said, no background noise. So King Corbin was calling out Elias. He was talking trash to Elias. Why are you here? Get out of here. You're a bum. You're the same old gimmick. Elias does what he does. He stands up, strums the guitar, gets King Corbin's attention. He gets hit with the Twisted Fate, which seemed like it was just a swinging neck breaker. I don't know if Jeff Hardy missed his move or this is what he's changed it to. And then he hits the Swanton Bomb, gets the 1, 2, 3, and picks up the victory in his return over King Corbin. And it looks like we're headed towards King Corbin versus Elias, potentially at WrestleMania, maybe the WrestleMania pre-show, or maybe on the following week's SmackDown, but that is a matchup that we're heading towards, and that's Elias versus King Corbin in the near future. We then ended the show with John Cena. It was talked about that he was going to be making his appearance, and there he was, lo and behold, in the ring with Michael Cole. He discussed his future and as to why Bray Wyatt is angry at him. He breaks down that when he beat Bray Wyatt 6 years ago at WrestleMania, it had nothing to do with him being pushed. It had nothing to do with him wanting to squash Bray Wyatt. It just had to do with the fact that Bray Wyatt got lazy with resting on his morals of being a good talker. And you know what? You get lazy, you get pushed aside. It's as simple as that. And John Cena was not to blame, but Bray Wyatt was to blame. And he addressed the fact that Bray is not the future of this business. At the time, CM Punk, let's see who he mentions. I don't want to mispronounce who he mentions. They should have it here. They don't. But John Cena goes to run down a list of people who he believed were the future of this business, from the likes of Adam Cole, from at the time CM Punk, from at the time also Kofi Kingston, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Doesn't mention Dean Ambrose, but he mentions the usual suspects of who were the future of this business, right? And he just makes it clear. He's like, I've made my losses. I've lost to CM Punk. I've lost to Brock Lesnar. I've lost to the Big Show. I've lost to, all the people he mentions were the usual suspects that we know he lost to, but he had way more wins than he had losses compared to Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt has suffered way more losses over his career than John Cena, so that kind of seemed like a selfish promo on John Cena's part. We know the story. Cena was the guy, so Cena was going to be pushed to the moon. He doesn't have to hide that fact. Just be honest about it. But his promo came off sounding like a dick. And maybe that's a good thing, because Bray's going to be favored. Bray's going to be the fan favorite in this match. They're going to love him, and they're going to side behind Bray Wyatt. And John Cena's going to be the guy that they're going to hate against. And it was the perfect promo you needed. You can't have Cena continue to come out and try and push himself as the good guy. The fans are going to cheer Bray. We love Bray. We like his gimmick. We think he's something special, and we want to see him get pushed to the moon. He doesn't have to be a world champion. We've seen him champion, and it was poorly used. Let's just get Bray doing what Bray does, and that's cutting great promos and causing havoc on SmackDown. So as John is giving this promo, poof comes Bray. Bray appears. He emerges from the side of the ring. He tells Cena that the Fiend will emerge and that he will absolutely slaughter Cena at WrestleMania. And then he approaches Cena and he lets him know, let me in, because when you do, I won't let you go. And that's all you needed. You didn't need them to brawl. You didn't need them to fight. You just needed that type of emotion and that type of promo and that type of intensity to get this match moving to the future. To get this match moving to WrestleMania, to get us excited to that. We didn't even need the Fiend to show up. Just regular Bray Wyatt acting like a regular human being and not afraid, and making it clear that this is personal. John, the Fiend is gonna feed over your fear. And at WrestleMania, the games are over. At WrestleMania, I exact my revenge. Perfect way to continue to build to WrestleMania. And like I said, we should know more within the next 2 weeks as to what happens with WrestleMania, or even in the near future what happens with WrestleMania. This is all depending on the news concerning the coronavirus. Look, I expect the news and the media to pull their foot off the gas, right? You got to consider the fact that a lot more cases of diagnosis are going to come out. For anyone to think that there won't be is naive. A lot more coronavirus cases will come out. There will be a couple of more deaths, maybe way more deaths than a couple, right? But that is to be expected. If you're not expecting that, you're not being realistic. But once it comes out that the virus is just like any other disease that is out there, and it's just going to have to be fought with a vaccine, the show will go on, life will continue, and maybe by then WrestleMania and everything the bans will be lifted. I know there are certain 30-day bans in certain areas of the world, 2-week bans in certain areas of the world, but as of now, outside of the Florida officials making it clear that they don't want more than 200 to 500 people in a gathering, there's a good chance that WrestleMania will go on without a hitch if the news surrounding the coronavirus continues to stay in the light of take care of yourself, stay healthy, be careful, and remember that this is not, I don't want to say as serious as the media says it is, but the reality is the media has caused more fear and panic than the good for the people of America, the people of the world, the people of Canada, and the people in general. Do your research. Look into the facts, look into the news surrounding this from scientists, from research journals, from those who are in the know, not just those who are given a slide, not just those who are the people who are reading off a teleprompter. Do the necessary research to get the proper information and help spread that proper information to those who are in fear and to those around you. Okay? With that all being said, I want you all to stay healthy, be vigilant, be good. I'll see you next week for the Monday Night Raw recap and review, which is taking place in the Performance Center once again. This was my SmackDown review. Have yourself a great weekend. Peace.